Buddy, welcome to Kindred Spirits. I'm your host, Christy Brower, and I am listening live. I'm not listening live. You're listening live on Fantastic Fridays here on 12radio.com. I am so excited to be here with you. I don't even know how to tell you how excited I am. I just love Fridays, and it's so much fun to come here and talk to you. I hope you can join me in the chat room. You can do that by going to 12radio.com and clicking on the chat button, and that will take you directly to our chat room, which is on Facebook. It's a Facebook group. You might love that. You might hate that. I don't know. It's just sort of how it goes. However, it is where you can interact with me if you want to. So you can do that in a couple of different ways. You can do that by listening and chatting with me and the others that are there. You'll find my post pinned at the top of the page. That's my chat room. So feel free to post your questions, reading requests, comments there. But you will also find that I am live on Facebook Live in the chat room. So you can watch the show if you want to. If you prefer that way, I kind of like it personally. You can simply click on the video and watch it. Just don't try to listen on the 12 Radio player and watch it on Facebook, because the sound does not sync up. And so it might make you feel like you're getting a headache doing that. So I also am live over on YouTube Live. Now, I want to apologize if you're watching on YouTube, because my webcam looks terrible and I don't know why. It's hard when you are on live and you can't adjust anything, but it looks to me like I'm coming through on the wrong camera. So I will change that when I will upload the show that's coming through the right camera. But if you don't like Facebook and you want to interact with me, go to YouTube, search for me, Christy Brower. You'll find me, and I'm live over there as well. Okay, as always, I have lots and lots of stuff to share with you. I think let's jump right into the topic, and then I will share some other things with you a little later in the show. I like to give you all some time to get here. So this week, I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm running 100 miles an hour right now. I have a lot of changes happening. I have a lot of things going on. All of it's really good, all kinds of positive stuff happening in my life, but I feel like, I can hardly keep up. So many awesome things are happening. And so I was thinking a little bit about trusting the process, and how we sometimes try to force things that maybe we're not ready to have, or how we try to slow things down that maybe we are ready for, but we might get nervous about. And I know I'm in a place where I have to be careful about that. There's a momentum behind the stuff I'm doing right now with the book I'm writing and the coaching I'm doing and all the things I'm doing that is really fast. And I'm working with myself on trusting that process and allowing it, because there's a part of me that wants to slow it down because it feels like it's going too quickly. And I know that that's a mistake, because I would lose out on something. I don't want to lose out on anything. So I've been thinking through all of this just a little bit, sort of from both angles, allowing things to happen at the rate that they're supposed to, whether they seem too fast or too slow for you. So, in my work as a professional psychic and a spiritual counselor, I notice regularly that we are all striving for growth and change and continuous self-improvement. So, and I'm all good with that, honestly. I think self-improvement is a great thing. But I want to suggest that sometimes that strive for change can overwhelm us and give us no time to adjust. We have to grow into our new selves sometimes. And so there are periods when we need to not stop the good things that are happening, but not try to make anything else happen. Do you ever feel like you're doing too many things at once? Do you ever feel like, I'm doing this, therefore I really cannot focus on this? That's healthy. Feeling like you have to do all of it right now all the time is really not healthy. It's too hard on all of us. And so it's important that if you have a big priority right now, it's okay to let some other things fall away for a little while. Sometimes they have to, really. I'm experiencing that right now. You might see that I'm not signed in over at 12 Listen very much right now. It doesn't mean that I'm not available for you. If you want to talk to me, simply schedule a call or do a callback request, and I will log on and talk to you, definitely. But sometimes, like with my writing and everything that's going on right now, I feel like I have to limit something And that's the thing. So I'm not just signed in like I normally am. However, I am still very much available. And so if you need me, you know how to get me. Do a scheduled call or a callback request at onetolisten.com, and I will be there for you. But, that's why you might have noticed that I am not there very much. The thing is, we need time to adjust and grow into the new us, into our new selves, who we're becoming. That is really important. We can't just constantly be becoming something new and something new and something new without ever adjusting and growing into that experience. So I have some ideas for adjustment and rejuvenation while we're walking this path. The first is that we have to remember we're connected to the earth. We are animals, whether we admit it or not, whether we, resonate with that or not, we really are. And we are connected to the earth, the seasons, and the tides, all like all living things are. So our planet gives us cycles of growth and rest and renewal every day. So we have to trust those cycles. It's important that we sleep when it's dark and work when it's light, whenever possible. I know some of us are on opposite schedules because of job, but we have to have both, right? It's also important to follow the energy of the seasons. So spring is a time of renewal. Summer is often a time of action. That's where we are right now. We're in action. And growth. Fall is a time to reap the rewards of our hard work, and winter is a time to rest. We have to take those actions and accept them. If you fight against it, have you ever noticed that if you're in a time of action but all you do is sleep, that you're miserable, that your mind never stops, because your mind is reacting to the energy that we're in, even if your physical body isn't. So it's okay to recognize that summer is a time where there's a lot of action. I always look forward to fall because I feel like by the time summer is over, I am exhausted because there is so much action. Where I live, we only get about 3 good months of weather, really, a year. And so a lot of things fit into that short period of time so that we can do plenty of outdoor things, camping, family reunions, kids' sports, all kinds of stuff comes up. And we do all of it in a very short period of time. And that's why we do it, is because we're in that cycle of action. So if you're in a cycle of action right now, it's okay to choose something to act on. I notice that some people get depressed in the summer, and I feel like depression in the summer is usually because you haven't given yourself something to do. So choose something. It doesn't have to be anything big. It could be dejunking your house. It could be watering your lawn. It could be a craft project. It could be writing. It could be anything really that is active. Do something active. Go for walks. Do some yoga. Get outside. I like to go. Here we have a green belt along the Snake River that is a really magical place. And I like to go this time of year and walk along the river. There's only a short period of time every year that you can, as it eventually gets too cold. And then the snow, of course, keeps that path covered all the time. So this time of year, that's one of my actions, is I like to get out and walk along the river. So I encourage you to evaluate, where are you in all of this? Are you living with the flow of energy on the planet? Or are you fighting against it? Fighting against it creates depression, it creates anxiety, it creates exhaustion and frustration. So it's okay to look at and really think about, where are you at in that cycle? Are you living with it? And if you are, that's awesome. Keep doing it. And if you're not, make a change. Look at a way that you could get more active right now, in preparation for there being a reward period in the fall, where just, enjoy the actions that you took over the summer and the growth that you've developed. And then in the winter, allow yourself some time to rest. Okay, there we go. All change is good. All change, even the good kind, causes stress and requires time for adjustment. So work at changing only one thing at a time in your life. Set priorities and timelines and follow them. Recognize that your body and mind require time to adjust to new experiences, and give yourself breaks between times of change to heal and recover. We can't just be in a constant state of change all the time. We have to allow adjustment. Have you ever had a really positive experience happen and your body is just exhausted? I hear this from people like after they get married. Weddings can be something that, wonderful, positive thing, but also exhausting. I hear this about new jobs. I hear this about, all kinds of positive new things that you're doing. A move is another one that afterward you need some serious time to adjust to that change before changing again. When you feel like changing everything, change one thing and then give yourself time to adjust and then reevaluate. Often we feel dissatisfied with everything and we just need to change one thing and watch the effect that one change has in every area of our lives. Have you ever noticed that? You change one thing. Say you change jobs. You hate your job is making you miserable. So you're miserable at home, you're depressed, that's affecting your relationships, you're not getting out and doing things you like to do. See, there's this whole domino effect. So say that you go out and change jobs. Did you need to change your relationships and get on an antidepressant and all those other things? Did you need that? Maybe you didn't. Maybe you just needed to change your job and then that affected everything else. Suddenly other things fell into line as well and got better for you. That happens often, and I think it's really important to recognize that we just need time to adjust. I think this is really common in the metaphysical community that we're sort of above that, right? We don't need time to adjust. We're spiritual, we're connected. No, we all need time to adjust. Your physical body needs time to adjust, as well as your emotional body and your intellectual body, your spiritual body. Everything needs time to adjust, but that's true for every human being. There is no transcending that need for time for adjustment. There's actually a mental health diagnosis called adjustment disorder. It's often used in children, diagnosed in children whose parents have divorced or who they did a, cross the country move, something that changed everything for them. It's actually a mental health condition that is short term, that is caused by a significant change in a person's life. And over time, as we adjust, the mental health symptoms that may have come up, like some anxiety and some depression, may come up for a while. And as you adjust into your new change, the symptoms go away. So consider that in yourself. Are you changing all the time and not giving yourself that opportunity to just slow down and adjust? There is nothing wrong with you. You are great right now, just as you are. We get caught up in the idea of constant growth and self-improvement and forget to appreciate who we are, where we've come from, and the growth we've already made. There is nothing wrong with you. If you want to do something different, if you want to change, if you want to move forward, that's awesome. Don't do it because there's something wrong with you, because there isn't. You're okay just as you are. Now, if you want to make a change because you want to be different, you want to do something different, fine. But do not use change as a reason to judge yourself. We're all okay. We're okay just exactly as we are. It's okay to take a break from striving for more and really appreciate who you are right now. Trust the process. Growth takes time. Allow things to play out naturally and don't push and recognize barriers as a message that you need to change direction. Pushing is the thing that I work with people on a regular basis. Well, I want it now. Here's the reality. If you're trying to make a change in your life, you're trying to bring something new into your life, it's very possible that there's a whole series of things that have to happen first. We all look at the final outcome, right? We don't look at what are all the steps in between to get there. So allow things to play out naturally. If you want something in your life, you have to recognize that you actually have to do the work to get there and let it play out in its own time. It doesn't help to force things. Have you ever forced something? Insisted that something was wrong and forced yourself into a different situation only to find that it is not what you wanted? The path of least resistance in life is usually the most successful. We move forward in an intuitive way, in a direction that we are guided in a direction that we're guided by our divine selves, by our divine guidance, our higher selves, our soul, our spirit, whatever terminology you want to use. But there is a guide inside of you, guiding you in a direction. You can't force it. If you're not listening to the guide, then you may try to go in a direction that doesn't work. Barriers come up as messages. If you're moving forward in something and it is not working out and you are strong-arming your way through to make something happen, you're going the wrong way. As Kai Greenway would say, you guys know Kai, she talks a lot about road signs. And when you come across a wrong way sign or a road closed sign in your life, if you were in your car, you wouldn't drive the wrong way, would you? Or you wouldn't drive down that closed road and go around the sign, would you? Maybe you would. But in general, you probably shouldn't, right? Because that's an indication that something dangerous could happen to you if you went that way. Something that isn't going to work things out in a way that you want. So it's really important to trust those barriers as they come up and recognize that they are nudging us in a little different direction. They're assisting us in following and trusting divine timing. Allow synchronicities to happen. I'll tell you about a synchronicity that just happened to me recently. You guys know that I'm writing a book, that I'm doing it through a program. The program is called the Author Incubator. And I didn't know anything about the Author Incubator. Angela Laria is my coach through the Author Incubator. I didn't know anything about Angela. I've had kind of a plan in my head to write a book all year. You guys know I put my my divination deck out in January, and I've been talking about that there's a book coming ever since then, because I felt like there was. But every time I sat down to write it, nothing came. There just wasn't anything there. Even though I have a whole list of ideas and things I want to write about, nothing was happening. So scrolling Facebook, because I do a lot of that. I'm here on the radio a lot. And so, of course, the chat room is on Facebook. It sort of makes me be on Facebook quite a bit. And so scrolling Facebook, I saw this ad for Angela Laria and the Author Incubator. I saw it over and over again. In a week's time, I probably saw it at least 20 times. It just kept showing up. And maybe I was a little thick for it to take me this long, you know, but I finally realized that's a message. Why is that same message showing up for me? Because I hadn't clicked on the link. You know how it is with Facebook. If you click on something, then you're going to see it a million times. Well, I hadn't clicked on this one, but it just kept coming up and kept coming up. And so finally it hit me that, hey, you know, maybe there's a message here. Maybe you should just listen to the webinar and see. So I clicked on the link, signed up for the webinar, and the rest is history. I'm halfway through my book. I'm through my first month in the program. It is changing my life. It is changing everything for me, changing how I look at things, changing how I think about things. It really is a very powerful experience. But it all came to me through a synchronicity. So trusting divine timing. I knew a book was coming. I've known all year a book was coming. I talk about it here on the radio all the time, and yet it wasn't happening. And when I sat down to write it, nothing was coming, and I didn't really know what it was going to be about yet. I had several ideas that hadn't really gelled into anything. And this experience really reminded me how important it is to pay attention to those synchronicities, because I was putting out into the world, into the universe with my energy, I want to write a book, right? Well, what came back to me was the help to do it. And now I'm halfway through. My book will be released in the early fall, and all kinds of great things are happening in my life because of it. And what if I hadn't listened? What if I hadn't clicked on that link and taken that webinar a month ago? I would be in that same place of, well, I'm going to write a book. I'm not sure when. It's coming soon, I know. But I'd still be in that place, wouldn't I? I'd still be in that stuck place. So trusting that synchronicity, not trying to force it. I felt really compelled that I should not just start writing. I felt that all year, even though I keep saying I'm going to write a book. Every time I went to do it, I felt like, no, it's not the right time. I don't have it in my head. I don't know what it is. As a writer, I tend to have something in my head first. I already know exactly what it's going to be before I put it on paper. I've always been like that. I don't know if it's part of my channeling process. I think that it when it comes to me, it comes to me in a way that I wouldn't necessarily expect, but it will come in my head first. And that's how I do radio as well. I don't really script anything. Sometimes I have an article that came out in the Power Peak that is part of what I talk about, but I wait for it to come into my head and then I just say it, right? Well, I do the same thing with writing, and nothing was coming to my head. And I knew it wasn't the right time until I started this program. And suddenly, now it's all just pouring out of me. The whole book is outlined. It's all planned. I know exactly what it's going to be. And I'm halfway through writing it. So trusting that process, trusting that synchronicity has really been to my benefit. And that's why I say it to you, because I know for you that it will also be to your benefit as well. So trust that. Allow things to happen. When you put it out into the world, we know about this. We know that concept of like attracts like. I talk all the time about how what we project, what we put out into the world is what we get back. And that can be conscious or that can be unconscious. It's very hard to go in the right direction without consciously putting out into the world what your energy, what you want to project. So choosing what comes from your energy body. It's a daily challenge. It's one that I struggle with too. We all do, because your thoughts control your energy body, right? I talk about this all the time, but it's something I have to remind myself of all the time, and something I want to remind you of as well, that your thoughts control your energy body. So what you think is what you project. And so if you are thinking feelings of fear, if you are worrying, if you are struggling with something in your head, it is going to come out in what you project. Have you ever been worried about something, you're really, mulling something over, ruminating and thinking something, and someone comes up to you and says, "Are you okay?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'm fine. What are you talking about?" No, it's your thoughts. Your thoughts are projecting out into the world that you are not okay, that you're really worried, that you're really frustrated, that you're really irritated. Even if when people ask you that question, you go, "No, I'm fine. Really, I'm okay." Except that your thoughts are not telling the world that same story. That's important. That's part of this whole game, right? Is understanding that. Okay, let's see. I wanted to get to the chat room and see what some of you are saying. Oh, Tara says, "I definitely have the experience of feeling depressed or exhausted when there are a lot of changes." Yeah, we do, that adjustment disorder, that is something that we all can experience, and we just need to give ourselves time to recover from. It's important to remember that your physical body and your emotional body just need that. Okay, let's see. Checking the other chat. See what you all are saying. And I want to talk to you about a couple of other things that I'm doing. So I really have a lot going on right now, which is fun. I enjoy it. The first thing I want to talk to you about is my class. So probably because I've talked about it quite a bit, but it's still coming up and there's still room in the class. I'm teaching my Master Healer 16-week certification series. It is coming up on September 3rd. It starts September 3rd at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. This class is a 1-hour class once a week. Every Monday night we'll meet for an hour. And in between that time, you will communicate with me and your peers in the class through a private forum that I will set up for us. Because you will have a partner each week that you will work with, and you and that partner will work together on whatever skills we learned in the class. You're going to then use those skills with one another. So if you have wanted to be a healer, or you've taken a few classes, but you still feel like you're not quite sure what direction to take this is the class for you. You know me, I'm a master healer. I have been teaching healing for 11 years. I have been practicing energy healing for 20. And I love teaching healers. It's one of my most favorite things to do. I love to teach people how to heal themselves and other people, and train them in how to trust themselves and follow their own intuition. So even if you have taken some energy healing classes before, the philosophy behind this one is probably a little bit different. I do not use any structure. There are no rules like you have to use these symbols or these hand positions or these time frames. No, none of that, because all of that is just a crutch that keeps you from trusting your intuition. And the point of the whole thing is for you to trust yourself. You learn the basic skills of how to use energy to heal yourself and other people, and then you learn how to trust yourself and use that very simple framework that I give you to expand out into whatever kind of healer you are. I'm a physical empath. That means that when I connect with someone, I have a very strong physical reaction. I feel things in my body that tell me what's going on with the other person. I also see things. So I see the energy body, I can see what it looks like, and then I feel it. So it's this connection between seeing it and feeling it helps me to know what to do. How do I heal this or help that? Or what do I tell this person about what they can do to heal themselves? That's the kind of healer that I am. Now, you might be a completely different kind of healer, and that doesn't matter. Every kind of healer is welcome in this class. You might simply be someone who feels a lot of things, or you hear things, or you just have an inner knowing. For me, words have a lot of meaning in energy. So I will hear a word or see a word. I don't know how to describe it, but I will experience a word that will tell me something about the quality of someone's energy, something about them that might need to be cleared or released. So you can be any kind of healer, and it doesn't matter if you have zero experience to start this class. You can do it even if you've never done this before. And if you have done some of this before, that's great too. You will, in this class, complete at least 100 healing sessions by the end of class. That gives you a tremendous amount of experience in a very short time. A lot of energy healing classes, and many of them that I have taught in the past, teach you the skills, and then you're on your own to get your practice. Sometimes you're in a situation where that's okay because you've got people you can practice with, or you can, go to healing circles, or you have a friend that you can practice with. But what I'm finding is that a lot of people don't have anyone to practice with. And so those skills just sort of stagnate because there's no opportunity to really develop them. So I put this class together this way because it gives you, first of all, a built-in group of people to work with. Your peers in the class will become your healing partners. You will work on each other every single day. You will also work on yourself every day. A big part of this class is self-healing and understanding how important that is. But not only will this class give you a framework to work within and do around 100 sessions, what I'm finding is that it develops a friendship between people so that you continue to have a group of people that you can reach out to and say, can we practice on each other? Can we work? I need this, or, reach out for help, or just want to practice a particular skill. Really, really important part of being a healer is regularly using your skills, just like any other skill, because healing is a skill. Everybody can do it. Everybody does it in a different way. But it is the practice, the keeping it up, that matters. It's kind of like if you learn to play the piano as a child, I'll bet if you haven't been practicing and kept that up, if you were to sit down today, you might get a little bit out, but probably not very much. It is the regular practice that really matters. So the skills that are offered in this class are basic, intermediate, and advanced energy healing skills. So we will go through those, and it's similar to what you might learn in a Reiki class, although I don't use that word because this isn't specifically Reiki, really. It's expanded beyond that. So there will be basic, intermediate, and advanced skills. You will learn some very specific skills about how to heal yourself and understanding self-healing and why it matters so much. We will do some work on healing with crystals, and I will teach you how to use stones in combination with energy to amplify the energy. That's what they do. You will come out of this class having a much clearer understanding of the chakras and the aura. That is what we're healing. We are healing the energy body. And so you'll come out of it understanding yourself and other people on a new level. You'll learn how to clear blocks, so energy that gets stuck and in the way of movement, of change, of growth. We will learn how to clear those things. You will learn how to trust and enhance your intuition. So you will develop a lot of things that maybe you've wanted to develop. I have found that students in my classes frequently develop skills they didn't know they had. You might come into the class being a feeler and come out of the class being a seer. All of those things can occur. It just depends on you. Sometimes you just need some practice trusting yourself for new avenues to open up. We'll talk about cord pulling and attachments and learn what those are and how to clear them from yourself and other people and how to understand what they are. We will also learn dark entity attachment clearing, something that I talk about here on the show from time to time, that we know that sometimes that darkness comes up around people and it needs to be released. I teach this in a very safe way and in a way that really there is no fear around it. There's a lot of religious language around dark entity attachment clearing that makes it very frightening. We don't use any of that language because that's all human created. It's not as scary as it may seem. We will also talk about ethics and boundaries, how to price your sessions, how to put yourself out there in a professional way. Those are things that we will talk about. So if you are interested, if this is something that you feel like you can commit to, I don't want you to register thinking, I'm going to take the first class and see. This is not that kind of class, because the first class is only a 16th of the information that you're going to learn. The bottom line is, if you are motivated to be a healer, this is the class for you. If you know me, you know that I'm a very skilled healer. You've been seeing me do it on the radio and talk to people for years. If you really want to get to that level, this is how you do it. So if you register for the first class, that tells me you are committed to being there every class for 16 weeks, for meeting with your partner every week and practicing on each other, posting in the forum, and really fully committing to the class. So that's what I'm looking for, is 100% commitment from the beginning of the class, day one. If you have questions about this class, you can message me at One2Listen through the Click for Advisor system, or you can go to my website, which is christybrower.com, and you can email me there, and I will answer your questions. I'm happy to clarify or answer any questions. Each class has to be registered for separately, because that's how One2 Academy works. So you'll have to register for every class, and I will send the links out for each class so that you have them, so that you can be registered in advance. And, this becomes a really tight-knit group, a group of people that become friends, that you'll work on a lot of really personal stuff. You will find yourself transforming in this class. It's not just about healing other people. It is very much about healing yourself. And if you are a healer, that is a huge part of your job, in healing yourself. And you will be on that path in this class. So if that's something you're interested in, I know it's a lot. I don't mean to make it sound overwhelming, but I do want you to be prepared for the level of commitment that it takes, because it is a big level of commitment, very significant amount of time, and work on your part. But the results are very much worth it. I will read some of the feedback from my last session of this class so that you can see what people are saying about this class. So I'm going to post a link to it in the chat. You will also find it at one2academy.com. That's where you can register for it. Each class is recorded, so you have the opportunity to listen to it. I do ask that you attend every class live. The recordings are simply to give you an opportunity to review what was learned, but it's very important that you be there all the time. Let me read to you a few of the feedbacks from people who've taken it before, because I think it's good for you to hear what other people are saying. Epic, life-changing class. Heal and be healed. The single most important thing you will ever do for yourself to advance in personal growth and healing. An absolute must. Christy is an amazing teacher, healer, and confidant. Read one more for you. I have just completed Christy's 16-week masterclass. This long commitment of weekly classes and daily practice is invaluable to learn new information, techniques, and tools within energy healing. If you are already practicing healing, this will only greatly enhance your healing work. 2 thumbs up. So thank you. I appreciate the feedback very much, but I want you to know that people have had a good experience with this class in the past. And if you are ready to make that leap as a healer, this is your chance to do that. Okay, something else I want to share with you. I just have so much right now. I have launched a weekly podcast. It's called Heartlight, and it will come out on Tuesday evenings. And it is a podcast that it's about 30 minutes, will be. The first one was shorter, but it will be about 30 minutes. It is a podcast focused directly on relationships and the energy of relationships and relationships in the metaphysical community, New Age spirituality. You can ask me a question and I will answer it on the next podcast. So if you want to send me a relationship question for me to answer on Heartlight, go to my website, christybrower.com, and on the homepage you will see a place where you can either sign up for my newsletter or ask me a question on my podcast. And so it's just a little form to fill out. I will only use your first initial, so I won't be using any names when I answer your questions on Heartlight, but I would love to get questions if you have, relationship things that you would like to know more about or something that you struggle with. Please send me your questions and I will use them on Heartlight. So I'm really excited about that. I wanted to do something that was specifically focused on relationships, and so this was what I chose to. This is my route to do that. The last thing that I want to share with you, and then I will get into the chat room and do some readings and answer some more of your questions, is that I have started a new coaching program. It is called Heartlight Coaching, and it is relationship coaching. This is something that I think I've been working toward for a really long time. This is also the subject of the book that I am writing in the fall. So if you feel like you have tried it all and you still don't have the relationship you want, if you feel like you keep repeating the same pattern in relationships and somehow you keep ending up with the same person, or you keep ending up with a relationship that ends the same way and things are not working out for you the way that you want, this coaching program is for you. I have developed it specifically for people in our community here in the metaphysical world who struggle with relationships, who haven't found a long-term relationship, or have had a marriage end and can't seem to get back on their feet, or just seem to repeat that same pattern in relationships over and over again. That is a very common statement that I hear from people, is that they continue to repeat the same pattern. So if you're interested in knowing more about the coaching program, it is an 8-week program, and it's a video coaching program. So it's not done on 1-2-Listen because it's video. It's done through me directly. You can learn more about it on my website, christybrower.com. There's a link that says Heartlight Coaching, and you can use that to get more information. But it is something I would love to talk to you about. So if it's something that you would like to do, reach out to me on my website. If you go there, I'm going to put a link in the chat room, but you can just go to christybrower.com and message me there. You're also here on Facebook with me right now, and if you want to message me there, you can as well if you're in the chat room. But just send me a message a little bit about what you're interested in or what you're thinking about this, and I will set up a time for us to have a chat on the phone to see if this is a good fit between you and I, and if what I'm working on is a good fit for you. And if it is, we can get started right away. I'm already working with some clients. I've already started this and I'm loving it. It is awesome. It's been really helpful. I'm seeing some great change and growth in people already, and hearing good things from the people that I'm working with, that they're feeling better and that they're, working toward the goal of, that final goal of having the relationship that you want. So that's what we're going to work toward. So if you want to know more, check it out over at christybrower.com or drop me a line here on Facebook, and I will set up a time when we can talk about it. All right, I'm going to grab a quick drink. Okay, I wanted to get into the chat room because I see that we have a lot of questions and comments here. Melissa says that I have been a busy little bee lately. I have. And that's what I'm talking about. That's why I talked about trusting the process today, because I do feel like I am following a path I didn't know I was going to go on, and every day it's something new, a new step, a new step, a new step. And I really have to just trust that process and allow it and not try to control it. Not the easiest thing in the world, but I'm getting better. I'm getting it now. And I just want to share it all with you. Jennifer says, Christy, have you been talking to my guides? Yeah, here's the thing. We are all very connected. And I think that when I'm experiencing something, that many of you are too, that's just part of being in humanity. And so that's why I love the writing that I do and the work that I do, because I always just write about something that's going on with me, because I know if it's going on with me, it's also going on with you. And you guys validate that every week on the show when we talk about our topic. And many of you say, how, are you reading my diary? How did you know I was feeling this way? Well, I know you're feeling that way because I'm feeling that way. We are connected. Greg says, this is classic Mars retrograde. There is a lot of tension, but we're not moving forward yet. Yeah, that's very true. Retrogrades tend to sort of hold us back a little bit. I kind of see it like a slingshot, where we're in the moment when we're pulling back on the slingshot, and as we come out of that retrograde, you let go of the rock, and you know what happens. Greg says Mars goes direct on August 27th. You want to know something really interesting about that date is, because I've set up my own deadlines for my book, that is the final deadline of my book. That is when my last writing assignment is due to my editor, is August 27th. So thank you for sharing that. That's really great validation for me, Greg. Let's see. Rebecca says, hi, Christy. I was wondering if this temporary house I'm looking at is a good fit. I'm worried it's too far from downtown. Okay, Rebecca, let's take a look here. Okay, so I see some pros and cons here. I feel like the house itself is pretty good and really would give you what you need. I feel like that the distance issue will be a difficulty, but not one that you can't overcome. Here's the thing. If you don't have any other options, take this. You will make it work. But if you can find something closer, you will have less frustration. So the bottom line is that there's no house that's perfect. There's nothing that's absolutely right, and I have to do this one. No. Find the one that works the best for you. If the distance is too much of a difficulty, find something else. But I do feel like you would actually adjust to it pretty quickly, and that it would be less of an issue than you might be feeling that it is now. Okay? I hope that helps. Let's see. Amy says, the offer I had on my house backed out. If you have time to do any readings, leave a message. Thank you. Oh, you know what? Okay. I honestly feel like this was really a good thing. I don't like the energy of whoever was trying to buy your house to begin with. I feel like it was going to be a difficult sale, that they were going to want things that you weren't wanting to give, that they were going to expect things that just weren't reasonable. I do feel like there's another buyer coming that's going to be much easier to work with. This is one of those times when a barrier comes up for a reason. It didn't work out for them because it isn't the right fit for either of you. So don't get stuck in thinking that, oh my gosh, this buyer fell through. I'm not going to sell my house. Things aren't going to work out. Don't get stuck in that thinking. Realize that it was a barrier for them too. It meant it wasn't the right fit for either one of you. They've moved on to make space for another buyer. So be open to the fact that all that did was just allow for a better situation to come your way. Okay, Amy, good luck. I know it's going to work out for you. It's one of those times where you have to trust the process. Catherine says, perfect message to hear, Christy, having just moved, but still awaiting the next stage. I forget the transition stage. Oh gosh, Catherine, don't we all? We all forget the transition stage, but we need it. Just adjust to being in a new place. Just adjust to feeling how you feel in this space and filling it up with your energy and making it like you want it to be, and focus on that and give yourself some time to adjust. The next will come. The next will always come, no matter what, no matter how much we anticipate it or try to push for it, or We just wait and allow and adjust. Either way, it is still going to come. It is a matter of how are you going to feel in the middle. So for you, I feel like you'll feel a lot better if you just give yourself permission to say, a move is a huge adjustment. I'm just going to learn how to love my life in this house. And when the next thing comes, it will come. Okay? Liliana says, if you have time, I would love an energy healing, please. Feeling really depressed and overwhelmed. Liliana, you're the poster child for today's topic, aren't you? Okay, let's take a look, Liliana, and see what's going on here. Okay, so Liliana, you have tornado energy body. You guys, lots of you have heard me talk about tornado energy body before, but your root chakra is shifted out of alignment, making all of that stagnant energy in your upper chakras get really, really big. So your crown is overactive, your root is underactive, so you're feeling unstable, like you're not in a safe position, and also your mind is just nonstop, and that's contributing to the depression and the overwhelm. So let's just work on that. Let's just shift your root back into a place. I'm going to shift that into place, and we're going to stabilize your root chakra first. That's the key, is getting your root stable, and we're going to ground you and center you. All right, now we're going to clear your energy body. We're going to release all that excess energy that's up in your upper chakras that is making you feel so overwhelmed. It needs to be released. We need to do, reset that process I call energy breathing, where we're drawing in new energy and releasing the old from the crown of your head. There we go. I feel that settling now. So I'm just going to finish up this session for you. And I do think you're going to be feeling a whole lot better. I think, Liliana, we ought to look at what is it that is causing your root chakra to become unstable. That is the underlying problem here. I will be available at One to Listen all weekend. I am going to be signed in during that time, and I would be available anyway if you want to schedule a call. Let's look at your root. We need to work on what is it that's throwing you off in the first place to help keep this from happening again, okay? So look me up over at One to Listen this weekend, and let's work on that. Thank you for your question. Deb says, ironic, I believe I am in a resting and healing period and feel the need to honor that need. So although I desire to join the masterclass, I must heal first. Okay, that's all right. You should always do what feels right to you. If it's not the right moment, it's not the right moment, and that's okay. We all have to do what feels best to us. And just because it doesn't happen for you this time doesn't mean it won't happen another, okay? So I definitely respect that, Deb. Catherine says, I would love any guidance around my car, if it's worth repairing or time for another. Oh gosh. That's a tough time when you get to that point with a vehicle, isn't it? I feel bad because it's almost like letting go of a pet to me. Well, I love my car. I would never want to have to let it go, although I know that time will come. Catherine, I do feel like it is worth repairing in this moment. I feel like this is probably the last go round though. And if what you do this time doesn't work, I would move on. But I feel like there is potential to repair it and give you another, I would say to give you somewhere between another 8 and 12 months with that vehicle. If that's acceptable to you, then repair it. If you feel like it's not worth the money to me, I'd rather get something else than get something else. I do feel like you're very close to the time when that car is not going to serve its purpose for you anymore. Okay. Let's see. Donna says, if time allows, would love some insight on financial info for daughter's college tuition. Oh gosh, okay. Isn't it crazy how expensive college tuition has gotten? My nephew just started, is starting this fall at a private school here in Idaho. And in Idaho, college tuition is not that high. I mean, in other places, it doesn't seem like it's quite low in state schools. But he's going to a private college where he's playing football. And I was stunned by the tuition. It was easily 8 times probably as much as I paid for my bachelor's degree at a state school. So I do understand the problem. I do feel like this is going to be sort of a modge podge when it comes to putting money together for her tuition. So there's going to be some scholarships. She's got to really do her research and get some help from her school counselor or whoever is in her life that can assist her. I feel like there are a lot of opportunities for scholarships for her. I do feel like there are going to be some loans in financial aid. And I hate to say that because I know a lot of people don't want to develop a situation where they're owing money for college. However, I do feel like that probably is going to be the case for her, that she'll be able to put together a significant amount of state aid and scholarships, but that there will be some loans. And so be open to putting together money from multiple locations in order to make that happen. I do feel like it's very important that you do that, though, because college for her is very important. Thank you for that question, Donna. Violet says, I really liked your relationship session last Saturday. Very effective and enlightening. Thank you, Violet. I appreciate that so much. And if you're interested in going deeper, I do have my coaching program available that spins off from that class into much more one-on-one, tailored to you kinds of work. But I'm really glad you liked the class. Let's see. Alishaya says, if time and spirit permit, a prayer for clarity would be greatly appreciated. Oh, of course. This is a rough time for clarity, I think. The energy is running so fast right now in some ways, and in others so slow, where there's like we're at loggerheads, I think. There's this resistance happening in energy that makes it hard to know what's real sometimes. So let's see, Alishaya, what can we do for you there? Okay, so I feel like there's some overthinking going on here. I feel like there's too much projecting into the future. I feel like you will have some clarity if you focus on the now and recognize that the future will work itself out when the future comes. So try to focus on just what you have to deal with right now and make the best of that. And don't try to project too far out. I feel like that's where the disconnect is happening. So choose your life now, even choose from now through the end of the year, and focus on that time and let the universe work out what's going to happen next. I know that's hard. Believe me, I have taken that leap many times in my life. I'm taking it right now. And that can be tough because you feel like you don't know where you're headed. But I think it will be helpful for you if you give yourself a time frame and say, all I'm going to think about, worry about, work on is from now to the end of the year. The rest of it, the universe will work out for me. If you can do that, I feel like things will become a little more clear for you, okay? Thank you for that question. I appreciate that. It's an important one. I make sure that I get to everybody. Let's see. Oriana says, can I get a healing? My low back is hurting me. Yes. You know, Oriana, the first thing that comes up for me with the low back for you is that there is a weight on you. There's too much responsibility weighing on you. And that's where that back pain is coming from. So we can do some energy work, and I'll do that as I'm talking, to help to clear that. But the thing that is going to resolve that back pain is the reducing of responsibility. That might mean asking for help. It might mean delegating a couple of things out so that you're not so heavily responsible for so many things. But I feel like that's where your back pain is coming from. It's sort of like you're being crushed under a weight that you can't hold up anymore. So that is what I would recommend that you try. Really quickly, because we're almost out of time, Beth says, if you have time, would love a healing and a message. Feeling anxious. Oh, yes. Oh, Beth, it's right there. Feel it right there. It's in your heart and your throat. It's a heart-throat block. That means that you feel some stuff that you haven't said. And so when you have a heart-throat block, we have to clear some of the stagnant energy there between your heart and your throat so that you can get your words out. So this is your opportunity. I'm going to clear that energy for you and give you an opportunity to then release it through your words. So say what you need to say. Be honest with somebody. Ask for someone's help. Get those words out of you, and that's going to help with that sense of anxiety. All right, you guys, I am out of time. You know I am up to so much. If you're wondering what I'm up to, go to my website, christybrower.com. You can find everything there. You can also connect to me through one2listen.com and One2 Academy. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your presence in the chat room and your presence listening. And I want to say thank you to my producer, Scott. And also, please stay tuned for Down the Rabbit Hole with Nancy Newman and Raven McMinn. And as always, thanks for listening to 1-2 Radio, where we're changing the way you listen to the world.